Hi folks, how are we doing? Da-da. As you can see, I might be in a little bit of bother. I think I left myself logging out with a bit of a crime stat problem. So first order of the day might be solving that. How are you all doing? See you guys? Hi Aaron, Silas, Asif. See you guys again. How you doing, Brian and Shadow? Yeah. First public service announcement of today is I don't know how I did it, but I managed to put my back out while doing nothing but lying down. That seems to be the stage of life I'm at right now. So no heavy lifting, no weights. Just I lay down, I woke up, my back was pretty much agony. No hat today. I got a haircut, so it's under control. I just need to leave this here for future reference for when I lose all my hair and then have to permanently wear hats. Just in case anybody needs proof that I did once upon a time have hair. So, not too bad. Too bad. But yeah, just a warning. I was really keen to stick to my, because I see other streamers and they're like 3 times a week and all that sort of stuff, and I'm trying for consistency of twice in a month, and I was already about to have to miss one due to injury, so I thought I'd stick with it, but just in case I need to go and take some great painkillers, um, just a word of warning ahead of that. I think, yeah, spraining the back while lying down does maybe mean you're getting old, maybe older, That's what we're going for. Hey, look, there's nothing wrong with boldness or owning a lot of hats. Both are perfectly cool. Right, so I've still apparently got an hour and a half until I'm released. I might, having put my back out earlier, I might have got just a little bit angry, and therefore I decided to take it out with some jump town shenanigans. Did a bit of solo drop shipping. It was really good fun. But of course somebody did press charges, so I ended up here. And do you lose your refinery orders when you do a character reset? Probably not, is the answer to that one. Generally, no, they tend to persist. But just occasionally, it can go a bit wrong. So you're much more likely to lose refinery jobs during like patches, even hot fixes. You've got to watch out for a little bit. They can definitely take your refinery jobs away. Yeah, just one thing which we didn't do last time, which I now understand why everybody does. This is meant to be very free flowing. I'm just going to try and keep gameplay quite simple so I can focus on learning to pay attention to chat on the other screen and stuff. And if anybody's got any questions, I mean, I stress to add that I am in no way, shape, or form an authority. I probably don't have any better answers than a lot of you guys. So, but if anybody would like to ask me a question, then feel free to just, if you whack sort of question in like square brackets or something like that, it would just help me pick it out of chat a little bit better with my since I'm learning to dash back and forth between 2 screens. So yeah, I have to say the ship PvP, the PvP around Jumptown this time, like I feared Jumptown would be stale because it was kind of stale last time. But actually, the couple of times I've got out there and and got into it, it's actually been really good. And I think that's maybe because nobody's got a financial motive to do it, right? There's a wipe coming, and if you're just about the grind for credits, then you're not bothered. So I think the people who are currently playing a lot and turning up at Jumptown, I think they're turning up because they want to fight, which is great. So. To try and keep myself going in the right direction. Just in case you haven't spent any time here, this is Clasher. I'm sure you bunch of reprobates have all spent plenty of time here though, so who am I kidding? But in case you did want to know, short of escaping, these missions are by far and away the best way to mount up credits, far better than the mining. And that's from a miner, so you just gotta make your way down. So up at the top of the screen, we've got sort of repair O2 kiosk in route 2, depth 12, so as long as you just make sure that you start off at the right one, the right route, you see the big numbers on the first sort of staircase you descend. And then you just got to follow these numbers, so this is route 2, depth 5 currently. So we just got to make our way all the way down to depth 12. But if we do it, then we get quite a decent chunk of merits and a couple of these missions, and you'll pretty much clear off most crime stats. So part of the reason why the crime and punishment sort of system does need a bit of a rework, and probably there needs to be a bit of an update, which is scheduled for 3.18 in terms of sort of crime and punishment. So is there an upcoming Star Citizen feature that I'm looking forward to the most? That was a good one, Hansel. There's quite a lot of stuff. If I had to pick one thing though, that thing would probably be salvage. Just right now, in terms of like, near future, sort of like, I try to limit myself getting excited until things are pretty much on my doorstep. That said, salvage has been pretty much on my doorstep a good few times so far. So I'm still not holding my breath, even though like that vulture is confirmed as it can be for the next patch. So but I'm just looking forward to a bit more widened industrial play. Because it's interesting. Before Star Citizen, I was never overly, I didn't focus lots on sort of playing industrial loops in games. But yeah, something about mining asteroids in space really got me, I guess. So, and yeah, physicalized cargo, I am really excited for, but I'm maybe not as excited. It's not purely for me about being able to steal other people's stuff. Physicalized cargo, from my perspective, is more about what it means for being able to link together different people within the same op. So currently there's a bit of a problem. Like if you go mining, it's all down to whose ship you go mining in. So you get together for a mining night. One person owns the mole and a couple of other people jump into it. And that's great, and you get this like multi-crew experience for the night, for the mining part. But then what invariably happens is, that refinery job is then that person's to refine, and then it's that person's to go and trade and sell. I'm excited about physicalized cargo, because physicalized cargo is gonna mean that you can go from the mining ship, you can drop the saddlebags off, you can get a ship to pick up the saddlebags, take them to like maybe a refinery ship, somebody else is doing the refining loop. Then once they're done with the refining, somebody else picks that up in a trade ship and takes it off, like all in the same session, all in the same op. So that to me is what's most exciting about physicalized cargo. And then it's basically just a little bonus that, you know, after it comes in, the verse gets a little bit more dangerous and more interesting, right? You know, because then that also brings in, you know, I genuinely think sort of if they get physicalized cargo right, all of a sudden you're going to see a lot more people willing to, you know, pay up and get some escorts to go with them down to a planet's surface, like when they're doing their trade runs and stuff. So it also brings in sort of stuff for combat players. And if there's other combat players trying to take the stuff, then one of the key things of why would I security no fights ever happen kind of disappears. It's like if it's fairly likely that people will come and trying to take your cargo. So let's see. What I think about the Crusader Spirit. I just finished a video on it. I think they're really cool. I think they look really cool. I have not concerns, healthy cynicism, skepticism when it comes to concept ships. Like pretty much, one of my favorite. I remember a few of the sort of funnier comments you get as a Star Citizen content creator. But I did a video ages ago which was just like what ships are still in concept, and it was meant to be, you know, these are your live ships and these are your concept ships. And this one guy sort of left the comment, they're all still concept ships. Actually, he's not wrong, you know. Like these ships can change so much between when you get them and when the game eventually goes live. So yeah, I mean, I hate to pick on it, but sort of the Ares Ion is the sort of ultimate example of not getting too attached to a concept. So with that rambling disclaimer out of the way, I think the spirits do look really awesome. And I particularly love that they're sticking more differentiated two-person, two-crew ships into the game. Because I think 2, 3, 4-person crews, I think it's just really important that there's lots of stuff to do in that sort of ballpark of like how many crew you would need on a ship. Because I think that's where a lot of people are going to be playing. People might be members of big, massive organizations or smaller organizations, but I think just, you know, what should we do? It's Wednesday night. I think a lot of people are going to be playing in 2 to 4 people. So, ooh, that is a pretty good one, Aaron. On the large mining ship. Before I get to that, did anybody see me go past the kiosk I was meant to be working my way down to? Nobody's shouted out on your left or anything like that, so I think we're at depth 12, so I should definitely be getting warmer. Yeah, so large mining ship. Well, obviously we know it's RSI now. So yeah, so just when you get down to this level, you just reset the kiosk. And you know, don't tell anyone, but like fast travel button, because that was quite a long way, and this gives me a minute to read the chat. So yeah, the large ships sort of obviously RSI, so that's confirmed. Which I think it's quite difficult. You know, will they will they potentially make it a mini Orion? That's just what I'm wondering. Will they make it so that they can bring in, because you know how the Orion's meant to have like a different type of mining? So it's more about sort of dragging asteroids over to you and munching them, basically, as far as I can tell. Now I think one of the big problems they've got with the Orion is what happens if you stick the Orion in game. Yeah, you probably pretty much break the economy in one fell swoop, because everybody who had Orions would take their Orion out to Yaren Halo, and we'd go round and round and round in circles, and we'd have enough money to buy all of the ships in game in no time. But the thing is that you still want to test all of the like actual gameplay of something like the Orion for when it is useful. Yeah, my mobby glass is looking fine. So I think it was a Noobifier video I was watching where he was sort of saying about this, that, you know, they want to stick something like the Expanse into the game that we have at the moment, because the Expanse is a way that you can test refinery gameplay without getting to the levels where you would break the economy. So I do just wonder whether this large RSI miner is basically going to be a mini Orion in terms of how it operates. And I would be okay with that, to put it mildly. So anything which just varies up mining gameplay would be awesome. That said, sort of there's also capacity, I think, for, you know, more lasers. I just don't see how when we use the mole, for instance, we'll rarely use all 3 lasers. So considering that, I don't know why sticking 10 lasers on a ship would make any sense. So, but yeah, remains to be seen. I mean, it could be a crazy ground crawler thing like the spice miners out of June. So I'll leave that maybe to the people who are paid to make these sorts of decisions. So now that that's out of prison, what I'm probably gonna do this evening is actually just go and run some bunkers. We've putting on a big event in just under 2 weeks' time. We're gonna be doing it on Saturday, November the 12th. So I used to play a lot of Warhammer 40k. Unsurprisingly, I'm a nerd. So one of the things I liked the most during while I played Warhammer was we used to do these like campaigns with scenario-based battles. So I have taken the time to write a 3 scenario campaign, which we're going to try and do a full playthrough of, and just because it's not only a great way to throw away all of our Alpha UEC from 317 before we go into 318, but it's also a good way to chuck away all of our loot. So I'm going to be grabbing any more railguns and missile launchers and grenade launchers I can. So that's what I'll probably do in the background. But I'll probably get shot because I'll probably be focusing too much on answering questions instead of the potential ninjas or dumbasses, depending on how Ninetales are feeling this evening. Let's just grab at least one gun, why not? I usually just like picking up guns and using them on the scene, but might be a bit more sensible this time. So the other thing we will be doing, so this event is called Daedalus Rising, and if you have any interest in getting involved, there is a sesh sign up on the Discord in community events. Anybody can get involved. We'll stick you on a team. All three of the scenarios are sort of a competitive PvP type thing. We have a red team and a blue team. Obviously, we're not calling it red versus blue because copyright, etc. But then over the course of the 3 scenarios, the outcome of each one will feed into the next one, and we're going to culminate in sort of a big mostly ground vehicle battle, with people sort of getting reinforced. But as part of that, we're going to do a stream for all of it, so it's going to be quite a big day, probably a lot of hours, because while we're going to try and stack up the timings as well as we can, it's probably going to overrun a little bit. And sorry, let's just do a little bit of moderation. But I quite like sort of once a year to do to use sort of the platform that we've built here to do some good. And last year it was amazing to me. Well, it was earlier this year. It's just time's gone quite quickly. Earlier this year, I was amazed that sort of so many people here helped me and my wife Ali out with her family in Ukraine. So this time I'd like to sort of do have another bit of a charity angle to this. And this time we're going to be doing it to support Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders, since they sort of operate in all different war zones across the world and places where there are natural disasters. So it's a great charity. So if you'd like to stop on by the stream on Saturday the 12th, or if you fancy getting involved and coming and playing, then please do. Shameless plug over. So back to a few questions. So yeah, working saddlebags. I don't know about anytime soon. I really wouldn't be surprised if the first iteration of the cargo refactor is as minimal viable product as possible. I'd be surprised if it's anything more than just crates in the back of your ship that can be moved if somebody were to stop your ship. You know, now in the future, yeah, I absolutely expect sort of the whole saddlebag thing to come into it, because it is it's a huge element of mining. The whole like if you don't get that sort of thing working, then all of a sudden the prospector, for example, you know, the prospector doesn't really have 32 SCU of ore cargo. It's got 32 times 4 because it carries 3 uninflated sets of saddlebags. So you've got 128. Sorry, it took me a while to do 32 times 4 in my head there. I've already taken a couple of painkillers from my back. So that would be quite a meaningful change in sort of how these mining ships are supposed to work. So yeah, I would fully expect that. I'm really interested to see if something like the Argo raft, potentially with its sort of hooks, whether it's got the option to integrate a bit more with the mole. I think that would be a really good pairing. I quite like looking for the synergies between ships and sort of the potential ones that we might see. And yeah, I think sort of, yeah, if you've got like a mole, you've filled the bags with laranite or bexolite or something. Maybe not quantanium if you want to like dump it on the floor of a moon. But then you drop off the bags, and then something like the raft comes in and scoops them. That would be really cool. Yeah, Hansel, that's an interesting point about sort of the Orion. It would be strange if it was like they literally invented an entirely different type of mining for the Orion. Like, I'd agree with that. I I mean, from the perspective that you raise about sort of limiting people, you know, that said, if this new RSI ship is the other ship which has that type of mining, then that's probably going to be quite a big, expensive ship as well. But also just from the perspective of like, you've got to get gameplay designers to actually work out like what that type of mining looks like, right? Like, how does it work? How does it fit together? And to then only use that in the case of one vehicle. Yeah, it would be like having one vehicle that used wheels. It's by the time you've done sort of driving tech and wheel tech and stuff, you'd probably want to sell us as many LTI tokens as you possibly can. So, yeah, the 300i, the 600i rework. Sorry, Shadow. That did look pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I've been waiting for the 600i to get some love. I'm now worried it's getting too much love. You know? Bit of a knee-jerk reaction. It's overshot on the downside in terms of how disappointing the original 600i was, but now it looks like it's overshooting on the upside. Like, I got told off for calling a 600i a gentleman's carrack. I assume by a carrack owner. Did not like me saying that the 600i originally was a gentleman's carrack. I would say it's quite hard to argue that it's not a gentleman's carrack based on the rework. That's very much how I would summarize it. Yeah. An interesting one, Asif. What's the elevator pitch for your org? Really, it depends on how long your elevator journey is. But the really quick one is, come and see, you don't have to join it. That's pretty much it. We're trying to build an organization for the long term for the game. Now we don't even know exactly what that's going to look like. So the most important thing I think we can be doing at this stage is getting people together is the one thing. Convincing people that multi-crew and hanging out and playing with other people is more fun than playing on your own. And I say that as somebody who has soloed a whole bunch of games. I've played in lots of different sizes of groups. But there are some MMOs which are much easier to solo than others. And my fear for people who are looking for a solo experience as Star Citizen is that Star Citizen is quite down the other end of the spectrum in terms of being difficult to solo. Like, you might be able to enjoy that like solo nomadic life. Like, I mean, I'm zooming around solo on my own right now, but if I get shot and I get downed, the only choice I'm gonna have is gonna be either losing all of my gear and my progress, or pressing that M button and sending out for somebody else to come and get me, basically. So our first goal really is just to get people into a community, and we have lots of events where it's just about showing people what like the multiplayer aspect of the game is like, and getting them to hang out and enjoy playing together. Then in terms of that builds into sort of if you like what we're about, and I think realistically just picking based off a group of people you enjoy hanging out with is probably the best thing you can do right now. And then on top of that, sort of you can view it as training in a way. So there are quite a lot of MMOs out there, like Eve is very definitely one, for instance, where some of the people who remained the best at the game for years after release were the people who'd been playing all the way through the beta. And I think this applies to like everybody who's playing Star Citizen right now. I'm not sort of saying it's Frontier consolidated exclusive or anything. Oh, it's like I'm the wrong side. So yeah, basically I'm just trying to get a group of like-minded people together who want to enjoy playing in groups, want to enjoy, like I do, looking for the synergies between different gameplay loops, because while I think one of the best things to do right now is try every loop, you know, get round and try all the different things. In the future, I can see people finding the loop they like. You know, I'm a miner, I'm a combat person, I'm a salvager, I'm a trader, explorer. And there'll be other bits that individual people don't really like that much. So the good thing about being an org, which isn't just a combat org, a mining org, is that you can probably find somebody from amongst your org mates who, you know, in the words of Mr. Muscle, loves the jobs you hate. And therefore you can sort of fill in the blanks for each other and help each other out. That was only an elevator pitch if we were in an exceptionally tall building and or the elevator was a bit broken and slow. So I'm sorry about that. But I hadn't got an elevator pitch written down. Maybe I should have one of those. That's a fair point. That's a cool point, Daniel. So for cargo, are they looking to up the profit but charge a loading fee if you don't load yourself? Can't think how else it would work for the heavy hauler. Sorry, just dissecting that a little bit. So I would strongly imagine we are in Imaginesville. Let's just be clear on that, because like some people understandably don't like or do theory crafting. I like theory crafting, but I also think theory crafting should come with a public health warning label, you know. So we are very much in Imagineville whenever it comes to sort of talk of the cargo refactor and how it might affect trading and all that sort of stuff. I always, with Star Citizen, I always come down like on the side of you need to remember it's a game, and I think just based on everything I've seen out of CIG, I guess so far, you know, they don't seem to struggle with the idea that gameplay should probably come before realism. So I would personally imagine that eventually, like when we maybe get a much more sophisticated version of the cargo refactor, it'll be, and you do have the option to like entirely handball load your ship, then I think the incentive to hand load your ship will be time. Like you should theoretically be capable of being much faster at loading your ship than maybe a timer that they introduce for if you don't. So a bit like the same way sort of the expediting and claiming of ships works. You know, claim it, don't pay any credits, but it's going to be slow. Pay some credits and make a bit of a cash sink, and then it'll be much quicker. Well, I think in this case it might be your input, and they've talked about the same sort of thing with when they did the Expanse Q&A as well, when it came to like the refining. So they said there about how you'll be able to like select just a standard refining process and it will take X amount of time, but it's when the person gets more active with it that they'll be able to save time or improve yield, that sort of stuff. So so I think that'll be how they balance sort of whether or not you load your own ship. And I also don't know, it might be a big factor in terms of when it comes to like your which ship you're flying, right? Yeah, because the downsides to something like a Hull A, which has no shielding on the outside, um, and is potentially a much more dangerous ship to fly through Piratesville, need to be matched by an upside in terms of, you know, is it incredibly quick and easy to grab out and get loaded, get unloaded? Are you gonna save yourself all that time? So yeah. Now whether they greatly increase the profits is like kind of the other half to dissect. Um, I wouldn't read too much in, and this is as someone who does an awful lot of basically the most profitable loop in game, in my opinion. Yeah, quantanium mining is like the most profit I've found anyway. Yeah, maybe bounty hunting you can keep up doing PvE bounties. I personally make more money if I solo quant mine. But the thing there is that like I think you've always got to view it as none of this should be taken as what is going to be the most profitable loops in the future. CIG are testing the game, and I can just say what I would do if I was in their position, because we're fulfilling basically the game testing element for them, but a lot of us are just playing the game. Nothing wrong with that, and actually even just by playing the game you're still contributing to the testing because they save you diagnostics, right? Like, so sorry if for any coders or anything, like I am not a technical person, so if I've like termed that the wrong thing, I apologize, but they get some information out of you when you crash, when you do when anything goes wrong. So if I was CIG, I would use the current very simple economy of the game to push players to test en masse certain things and not bother so much with others. So one of the reasons I think one of the reasons I think trade is dead is because they knew that these big changes were coming to trade. So they just didn't need anybody going around sticking, you know, Insta cargo and filling their C2. Now, when the cargo refactor comes in, I really wouldn't be surprised to see trade get a lot more profitable, because then they're going to want us, you know, smashing through trade transactions, filling ships, seeing if we find anything which will crash a server, which will cause a bug. So it's basically like I think they can just use the economy, and they can sort of use how much they know we love credits to sort of, you know, push us. It's a bit like herding cats, but they can sort of herd us towards doing more of one sort of thing and less of another by how much they pay. Yeah, that is a good point on Quantanium. I too would love to see other minables which are actually worthwhile. Like, though, I'm really interested to see sort of the crafting system. You know, they mentioned that in the Expanse Q&A as well. There might be some spoilers. I'm like stepping around. I'm trying very hard to draw a line. I think it's a good line. Maybe if we just sort of agree it, sort of as a chat a little bit, right? Like, I think in general conversation, it's all right to sort of talk about and to speculate based on something that CIG stuck out. So like, you know, sorry if this is a shock for you. If you are absolutely zero spoilers for IAE, please, and I've to the point that you haven't even watched CIG's video on it, then or had a discussion with a single person on a Discord, then just look away now. We'll just mute. We'll give you a couple of seconds. So I personally don't think there's anything wrong with discussing the potential for a medical Pisces based on the fact that the one that released in the teaser trailer for IAE by CIG contained what could be a medical Pisces or could just be the skin. But then the line I draw is like if you're doing something like pipeline, pulling the game data apart, and then I think sort of it's fine if that's what you personally want to see. But I think sort of when you're in a bigger group, you want to respect that other people might not want to find out about the releases that way, I guess. So just make sure I take call to arms as well. This is impressive. I think I'm about 40 minutes into a stream, or I might finally actually be getting around to some gameplay. I'm very sorry if you came for gameplay. That's all I can say. This very much should just be advertised as chatting on a Sunday evening. In the background, loud might accomplish something. Maybe. There might be pretty ships in the background. But yeah, sort of getting myself back off a tangent. Sorry, the tangent's gonna be pretty strong this evening. Crafting, like, because that to me is like I'm kind of maybe because I'm a bit of a survival game nut, not survival nut in terms of like I don't have a bunker dug out in my garden. But I love survival games, and it's kind of almost more rewarding to me to have that element of like I need to go and find this resource or that resource. We've got these 5 ingredients out of 6. So what are we doing tonight? Well, tonight we're going to go and find ingredient number 6 because we want to build this thing. Now, I don't know if that's going to tie into sort of the construction side of things with base building, or are they going to let us? They've sort of hinted, I think they've said in the past about how they didn't really want like the full-blown player manufacturing bases that EVE has, for instance, but they might let us manufacture ammunition, for instance. They could let us upgrade ship parts, sort of like you've already got an aspect of that talked about with the collider on the Endeavour. So that sort of driven gameplay, where it's not just about we are mining to make credits. What is the most valuable commodity? We will just mine that. That sort of thing to me is that's a little bit dull. So, and I think if we get those sort of loops feeding into each other, then that's where we could just get a bit more interesting from the mining perspective, and would mean you're not just going, not a quant rock, not a quant rock, you're not a quant rock, finally a quant rock. So sorry, better just fly close enough to not get shot at. Yeah, Hanzo, and that's sort of another point. If you had that sort of crafting driven economy or building driven economy, then that's just another area which sort of encourages players to come together. Would be the way I would summarize that. Because on the one hand, it's like it forms the basis of trade. You know, it gives you a reason to sort of reach out and trade with neighboring orgs. You know, have you guys got any Laveranite? We've got Bexalite, or we might have these advanced electronics, but you manufacture ammunition, so can we trade? But it also might sort of generate like org conflict, so which could be a really interesting spot in the game. I hope particularly for like lower security systems and zero security systems like Pyro. Some people are a little bit annoyed that Pyro got retconned, right? And will no longer be just a barren wasteland. I'm quite glad it got retconned and won't be a barren wasteland, because that might be a bit boring. So, yeah, definitely, there could be a potential for, you know, sort of a bit more of a less mission-driven sort of jump town type objective. Like, what if there's just a spot which is, you know, like those volcanoes that they flew across in the demo. Now, what if like that area is just completely chocker with decent value rocks? You know, you are just, you've got a higher probability of finding good rocks to mine in that particular region. And then what you get is orgs basically vying for control of that. So, right. And my main goal here is just not to get shot. So I'm gonna call these guys Larry and Tim. And I think I feel okay with those guys in front of me. It's one of the good things about coming and doing these missions. So. Sorry, I was just reading. My eye always drifts to the word Care Bears. It's particularly when people talk about cargo haulers and Care Bears. It's almost like everybody who does an industrial type game loop as like their main thing is completely opposed to PvP. Like in a PvP VE game, you know, all the activities, even the ones you might view as traditionally PvE, all these activities are PvP. I'm currently doing PvE bunker content, right? But like in an open world, so somebody can come in from the outside and probably prove quite a bit more dangerous than these Ninetales guys. So whatever you're doing, like when I'm out mining, the reason I don't get caught very much is, you know, famous last words, I know. It does happen sometimes, but like the reason that I don't get caught very much, particularly if I'm on my own, is because I take all my precautions, right? Like if I'm coming back with my ship full, I don't just jump straight from Lyria to Arc L1. Sometimes I go to Crew L1. I always throw in a dog leg. Sometimes I go to her L1. I never go straight to the refinery from the mining outpost. And I think if you watch good cargo haulers, like they're exactly the same. In terms of like, you know, they know the capabilities of their ship. They will take off and land in a certain way. And it's all because they respect the fact that this is a PvP game. And you know, so yeah, sort of like Sorry, that was a bit of a chuck into the Care Bear discussion. Somebody will probably clip that out and misrepresent me. But yeah, it's just I do think players who there are plenty of players who are playing industrial loops who are thinking an awful lot about what 318 will mean, are respecting sort of the risk of piracy, and frankly, like, I mean, if that sort of thing's the challenge of the AI, like, we need PvP. We need people coming after us, because otherwise, you know, what's in the game that's going to keep you playing for like 5 years, 10 years? You know, one of the best things about sort of playing industrially in this game to me is, like, you know, it might always go wrong. Like, there might always just be somebody out there like looking to ruin your day, looking to come get you, looking to find you, looking to hold you up. And so there's that little bit of danger to proceedings. And without that, honestly, like, if this was just credit making simulator 2952, I'd be bored. Like, I just don't know that I could maintain interest in it if it was just all the industrial loops with no danger of ever running into somebody with bad intentions. So yeah, Jack is a great guy, and people definitely should look at his channel. If nothing else, they should watch his landings, because Jack Axton probably he's got the best landings I've seen in Star Citizen. And recently I've left many of my ships in fiery balls of death trying to replicate some of his landings. So, you know, haven't matched any of them yet. I'm getting somewhat closer to the pad though, each time. Right. Damn, some of these armors, and that seems to be probably the biggest combat challenge. Oh, he says nearly dying. Seems to be one of the bigger combat challenges, just sometimes identifying the good guys from the bad guys in these. Yeah, no scoping. So, yeah, the Axton triple flip caterpillar into area 18. If you haven't seen that, I will. Just after the streams ended, I will make sure I find the link. Jack's got a fantastic video where he actually explains in a bit more detail, like, how he pulls off some of those landings. So, well worth a watch. Well worth a watch. Yeah. So I guess one of the things which does come up with when it comes to sort of piracy in 318 is kind of like someone is just saying just there, you know, that there might be an element and a motive for pirates in the next patch to just kill everything and ask questions later. Quite possible. Yeah, it is quite possible. Why risk somebody alt F4ing? Why risk somebody bedlogging? You know, you can just shoot people down, salvage them, if nothing else, right? Like, you might get some boxes. I think there will still be room in the game for sort of ransom, like ransom type gameplay. Now, like in many ways, like that might be what is done predominantly now because there's no other option. But like the reason I think ransoms will still be interesting to pirates is because while pirates will be able to sell our cargo, like if they take my ship and they steal my sorry, ninjas. So if they take my ship and they steal my cargo and they take it back to Grimhex or wherever, and then they're looking to like sell that cargo, you know, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to do that, but there is a reason, because it's realistic, that they would in no way, shape, or form get anywhere near the amount of credits for it that I would get. Like, that just doesn't make sense, right? You know, if you come into, if you came in and you said, well, I've got these diamonds to sell you, it's like, right, cool. Where did you get them? Oh, well, I stole them, mate. Now, if I was the type of person into buying stolen diamonds, which, for the avoidance of doubt, I'm not, but if I was, I wouldn't be paying you Cartier's list price, would I? So I'd be paying an amount which then made it possible for me, even though I'm selling people stuff, you know, maybe you have to launder it, you have to know the right people to sell this stuff onto who won't maybe mind that it's a little bit stolen. So chances are, while pirates are going to be able to sell on your cargo, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's for something like 20% of what the actual trader could get for it. Like something that extreme wouldn't surprise me. And so that then creates like an added incentive for, you know, the trader and the pirate, like they have sort of a level that they can come to. They can probably sort of come to an arrangement between those two prices. Like the pirate only needs to get more than 20% in that situation from a ransom to be out ahead of where they'd be just taking the cargo and stealing it. And they might be able to get away with it with a fraction of the work as well. Because, you know, it's probably going to take an awful lot of time. Just judging by, like, moving boxes on and off ships at Jumptown. Like, if you steal someone else's ship at Jumptown and then you have to empty that thing out of all the crates with a tractor beam by hand in the middle of the space, that takes some serious time. And is not the most interesting of gameplay. So if you can still pull off a ransom without even having to like leave your ship, you know, if you can hold somebody down and get them to pay, then that's going to be a lot less of a time sink for you. But yeah, that said, right, right. I'm going to just go off the because we could talk about Care Bears and toxic PvPers and pirates and griefers all night. I think my views on all that are quite moderate and well documented. So, somebody did ask there what was my vote for the mining ship. It was, of course, Argo, because the world needs more orange. So, I just love Argo ships. That said, I'm really not gutted that it's RSI, because some of the concept images of the Orion, you know, are really interesting. Like not just from a like, you know, the business end where the rocks go in, but also sort of if you watch some of the concept videos where they show off like little bits of the interior, I think actually I've not been such a huge fan of things like the Connie with all its angles and stuff, but actually in like more of an industrial setting that works. That works quite well. Um, sorry, this back is the moment I move. That's when it gets you. But yeah, I do think, you know, that said, there's definitely space for more Argo ships. Um, and I personally would like absolutely love to see something a bit bigger from Argo. Like, cause they've got the really small with their like MPUV type things, and they've got the bigger stuff in terms of like the mole and the raft. So I just hope that then the SRV as well, of course. I just think that, you know, given they've got quite a lot in that medium range now, like the sort of 3 to 4 person crew medium ships, like that's great, but I'd really quite like to see like a larger ship from Argo. But I think they could be the choice for, so you've got like a small refinery ship. I think Argo could be sort of the logical choice. So you go like Misk, and then you go Argo. So if you were to build like a refinery to go and pair with the mole, that could definitely be a good job for Argo. The Argo bucket dredge. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm picturing, to be fair. So cheers, Brian. Catch you in a bit, mate. The Gatak octopus style miner. I don't think you showed that to me, Worm, but you're gonna need to send me that again. I feel like I'd remember it if I had seen it. That makes sense. I don't think that would be one which would leave my mind that quickly. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like maybe some large Argo hauler. That is a yeah. Because I think, you know, in a way, like I love the concept. Don't get me wrong. I love the concept of like the misc hull A B C D E. But it does just sort of leave you thinking like, is every ship you see in sort of the space lanes going to end up being a misc hull something? Um, and I know that's kind of the point. Like the whole sea is meant to be like the most common ship in the verse. So it's basically your Ford. You know, so I know that's kind of a thing and an angle they're going with, but you kind of think like if having external cargo works so well for Misk, why would no other manufacturer have released a ship anything like the whole series? Like, if the whole sea is the most purchased ship in the verse, then surely somebody's going to have brought out something that takes some of the design elements of the Misk whole sea. Like some other company's going to have a competitor to that. Just to be clear as well, I don't have really massive hands. I just drink fun sized Coca Cola because it's about limiting my sugar intake, particularly at 8 o'clock on a Sunday evening. There'll be a lot of Corsairs. There's going to be a lot of Corsairs everywhere, not just in pirate fleets. Um, I know a lot of I know a lot of people who are sort of more down the exploration type of line, and I'm sort of proud Corsair. I know people who have no stated profession who just own a Corsair because they love the look of it. People like asymmetry. I think it's kind of a Star Wars thing, right? So I think there are going to be just generally an awful lot of Corsairs in the verse. That said, I wonder if there are then going to all of a sudden be a lot less Corsairs once it comes out. And don't switch off and leave me immediately. Just hear me out. Like, I am a bit of a Drake fanboy. I love Drake ships, but then there is a but. They do tend to be made of paper. Maybe in some instances quite stiff cardboard. And while those ships have like all of that gun, they'll probably balance for that by being wafer thin. And wafer thin doesn't matter in Stanton, right? Like, go bite off more than you can chew, get in a fight, die. Who cares? Back at Grim Hex, back at Crew, Port Olisar. Go again. Well, not back at Port Olisar, sorry, if you're dead. But you get my point. Back somewhere. Reclaim Corsair. Wait, what do we reckon? 15 minutes? Get back in Corsair. Go and shake your fist at that person who beat you, or that NPC who beat you, and try again. But the thing with the Corsair is, like, you know, sort of in line with like the Connie and 400i, that sort of stuff, is like it's meant to also be a bit of an explorer. Maybe more so than the others of other people's cargo holds, but it's a long range ship meant for like crewing up and getting out there into the black. And I'm like, I don't know that I personally would want a ship made of cardboard for that situation. I just probably want something like a little bit more durable. I am obviously even just speculating on the fact that it's not durable, so don't go saying like Loud Guns says unequivocally that the Corsair has no defensibility. I expect it to not be very, very tough. And I expect as things like Pyro come online and maybe, you know, it's a little bit more danger, a little bit more dangerous. You might not necessarily want to die. Like the punishment for dying is just that much higher. It's going to be higher in terms of your time. So yeah, I think that's where maybe some current Corsair owners might want to go back to even like the Connies that they had as loaners for years, waiting for their Corsairs. Oh dear. Well, just in case you don't bunker, that's not a particularly good sign. Sort of in terms of oh wait. Maybe if I just wait a minute, I'll use this time to catch up on chat. Because that was maybe going down. But you're most welcome, Gunnar. I'm looking forward to some more mining stuff to do sort of updated videos about, because I really want to see some bigger challenges in mining. We'll see those reasons to multi-crew, and for me to sort of say that it's about more than just the fun of it. It's actually like there's a challenge that you need to bring mates along to solve in mining. Yes, the servers have been just a little bit iffy. I don't know if it's correlation without causation, but it does always seem to be a little bit when the Vakati sort of test, when the PTUs get spun up. Things seem to take a little bit of a dive. in terms of stability. Yeah, that could be really cool. So, like pit mines. I mean, it was one of those things where I remember getting quite excited when they were talking about caves. Like this was way back in like 313. 313, I think they sorry, I just have to exit the menu because that the elevator's broken, so I might just try a different server. So yeah, got quite excited about like the potential there was for those sort of new flying caves, and where you could drive in a land vehicle or fly in something, like because some of the caves you can fly a cutlass into and bring in things like rocks and stuff. And I really thought that when they were doing that, that they would make the caves really valuable. Like I've played a lot of Ark Survival, and like caves in Ark are incredibly valuable. Like they have sort of the best chitin farming. I've had to train myself out of saying the word chitin. So like they had some of the best chitin, they had some of the best metal in the game, and things like obsidian, and they had the artifacts for running the bosses. So like the resources then naturally put you in competition for control of those caves with other players, because yeah, sure, in Ark, like those resources respawned, but they respawned once every half hour or so. So if you had a full like buzzing PvP server, then people would fight each other all the time for control of the caves. And I kind of thought that was what the caves were going to be. Like they would take this opportunity to like stick in, you know, maybe like you could you make it like full of gems, couldn't you? Like just gems, gems, gems. So many gems. And that would just engender competition. I've seen like a little bit of it. We were me and some of the guys were recording. We were purely doing some recording last night, and we got jumped at Kudra, all mine closed, which I hear is quite a spot for rock mining. So so then unsurprisingly, when people turn up and they see your ship outside, that can engender a little bit of PvP. But yeah, they are a little bit janky caves. Seeing as I in the same shoot, rather than getting to have some PvP with those people who came and started attacking our ship, I just got stuck down a hole and I couldn't get out of it. So um, right, I'm really sorry. I said for just for anybody who joined sort of a bit after the start. I don't know how I've done it, but I've screwed up my back. I just and I can't even claim that it was doing anything, you know, particularly heroic. I took a nap and then I woke up and my back was really painful. So so I think before too long I'm gonna have to go and take some painkillers. Some more painkillers. Probably some of the special ones which would not be sensible to then be live streaming while under the effect of. So yeah, if anybody's got some sort of final round us out questions that they're desperate to have me answer, then feel free to chuck them my way. Don't worry, Worm. It's already been highlighted to me that I might be getting a little old. If only I knew a physiotherapist. But Well, that's what I probably need to go and do, to be fair. Yeah, okay, that is fair. Just for a bit of context, while we were down this cave that we got jacked while we were in, literally minutes before one of our party had was having a bit of a visual bug, so we tried record for a video, tried to do a little mission a meh, and poor Rocky is the face of his character had got sort of caught into an animation, so when we did the close up, it sort of looked like she was just a goldfish, um, and so we wanted to try and reset the character, and we thought maybe if it goes into a down state, maybe things will be all right. So one of the guys was told, just down him, just like carefully pop a few shots into like a leg or something, and then proceeded to just full burst, like probably shot him with about 20 bullets. Um, and then wasn't it that it was like I I can't laugh at him for this because I think it was my fault. I got the keyboard command wrong, but then rather than stabbing this person with a med pen, instead they just did the execute attack. So we were a person down and we did waste our ammunition. Um, so I'm up in the very top of the UK. I'm I'm a non-Scot in Scotland. That's why I'm from down south in England, southwest, but I live north of the wall. So um, land claims and pioneers would be in the PU tomorrow. Where would you make your personal settlement and your org's HQ? Quick question: does that mean I have to pick somewhere in Stanton? So are we imagining that CIG just got my pioneer in and base building, but they didn't get any other planets involved? Because if I had to pick somewhere in Stanton, I mean, that's a bit dull to be fair, but probably I'd probably Microtech. To be fair, I was going around Microtech recently, and I just sort of stopped. And you don't often like get out of your ship these places. I think I was doing some of the derelict outpost missions, and like Microtech is stupidly beautiful when you actually get out of your ship in like in the wooded areas. And Aaron, I don't know if Citizen Aaron's still here, but we're gonna also have to revisit an idea that he sort of led the way on a while ago and get our microtech mining. Not no, sorry. This really is sort of the back kicking in. Our microtech mountaineering back on the go. Um, so we did a little event a little while ago that Aaron ran, where we went out and we tried to find ourselves a particularly tall mountain, and then we tried to get up it on foot, which was pretty hard. So then it looked really cool as well when you got this like string of players like weaving their way up this mountainside as we tried to pick our way up. So yeah, we'll have to go back and do some. So yeah, if we had a base on Microtech, we could continue our mountaineering expeditions. Yeah. So you gotta get to the top. Get to the top without any vehicular assistance. Although I suspect one or two members might have got up by hoverbike in the end. But it was only after the mountain was summited by a majority of the team on foot. So yeah. Righto. So I'm very sorry about this, and I'm gonna try and last longer next time. But I think I need to go and give myself a real life med pen. So, but it's been really fun to have this sort of Sunday evening chilled chat. I realise I've basically just talked for most of the time, and I've like successfully done all of 2 missions. So I'm sorry about that. But I hope everybody had a good time having a watch, and thank you all very much for coming out. So I'll catch you all in 2 weeks, by which time I hope to be fully recovered. And that one is going to be on Saturday, so it's going to be Saturday the 12th, and we're going to be covering this this Daedalus Rising event. I'll stick up some details about that over the next 2 weeks. Right. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll catch you next time.